So let's turn to our third session for today. TAPA EMEA's latest 18-month cargo theft report to the end of June 2022 identified cargo losses in 78 countries across the EMEA region, more than ever before. Today and tomorrow, we're going to look closely at the risks to high-value theft-targeted goods in two countries featuring in the latest top 10 list, France and Germany. Today, we welcome Céline Lebrano, who will be known to many of our delegates as Head of Security and Operational Resilience France for DHL Global Forwarding. But today, Céline joins us in her voluntary role as Regional Lead France for TAPA EMEA. The working group provides a local perspective of cargo crime risks in France, encourages use of the TAPA security standards, helps to identify sources of cargo crime intelligence, and raises awareness of TAPA EMEA as the region's leading supply chain resilience association. And today, this role is more important than ever. Incident data reported to TIS, the TAPA EMEA Intelligence System, shows France as a prominent focal point for organised crime groups, OCGs, as well as small-time cargo thieves. Police data shows over 1,800 crimes targeting supply chains in 2021, while TAPA EMEA recorded millions of euros of product losses from facilities and trucks in France in the last 18 months, across 13 different regions of the country. So what are the cargo crime trends in France, and what can be done to keep your supply chains secure? Let's hand over now to Céline for her presentation. Céline, do come and join us. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. So, good morning, everybody. And first, I want to thank you to permit me to focus on France today. That is, I'm sure, a very good point, because we have really to focus, as you mentioned, on the criminality, but not the only thing is we have to focus, because what is really important is to say how we want to react in case of this problem we met. So, as we just mentioned, we know that the police show some reports, and we can focus on the fact that today we can report for 2021, let's say 1,800 criminal case attacks on the supply chain for 2021. We're still waiting for the figures for 2022, which certainly will be higher due to the fact that we have, the COVID wave, if we can say that, and we expecting today for the 2022 around roughly 2,500 case for attack. So while the police is reporting such figures, we want to really to speak about trends and not about statistic, and I will explain you why. But at the end, thanks to the TIS, we also know that even if we speak about figures, we have also to really highlight the fact that we are speaking about millions of losses, millions of euro of losses, and especially regarding high-value sensitive shipments. So we will speak about 13 regions in France. We focus on this area. But you will see also that if we can see the statistic is really focused on main 4 regions, that doesn't really mean that the case of the other regions are not really impacted the supply chain, because we can see that only one case can make the difference, because it could be very, very tricky about, of course, the injury and also about the value. So the police data reports for 2021, we will speak about 1,800 of cases, but the most important you will see on the slide is that we report 75% of cases reporting for goods theft in the vehicle. So that's really the focus point for France, that we realize that now, 6 years after, we really have make a lot of effort. We really have a gap, and we will focus now on the, let's say, the sensitive points, which is, the theft during the road. So the data we can show here, it's the involvement of 75% of theft during the road, the theft of goods in the vehicle. And we will also highlight, by opportunity, is because you will see after why I mentioned that is because most of the time, unfortunately, this can be certainly not the real case, that with certain security measures, we can say that most of the case could be avoided, and unfortunately it was not the case. So when we speak about statistic, I mention you, take care about, and the police really make the point that we have to take care about the figures we mention here, because it's only the case we have, or which have been reported by the people, which is not the reality, certainly by 100%. So you can see in this one that we try to highlight the fact that in 2021, which is in yellow, most of the time you can see that we have the same trend, or of course with the peak period we can also mention that this crime is increasing, of course, as usual, but we want really to tell that at the end we will have different figures for 2022 due to the after COVID. So you can see that this really figures is coming from OCLDI, which is the police force, the central office, which is against mobile organization crime. So it's really the only police in Europe who can react on these cases, because they are really working on cases. You can have one case in Paris, you can have a case in another way of France, and whatever they make, statistic to realize that this several cases are really finally, ordered by the same gangs. So that's really important to say. I think that we have some chance to have this kind of police who is really work with all the local police, and they can, realize that sometimes it's not the case here, and it's just because opportunity. It's really because we are facing from a gang, and then we can react in a different way. So that's really important. And this trend will be a way to react and to work closely with the different parties of the supply chain. In that slide, you can see, as I mentioned we have 13 regions, but at the end we have 4 regions on the spot. And I would like to say that Île-de-France, of course, is the common platform where we used to have high-value sensitive shipments. So that's why certainly we have an increasing number of cases. But also we have Hauts-de-France, which also become, even if we mention -1%, also a high spot. And we will speak after about the Grand Est, which is really something we pinpoint, and we highlight some area where the organized crime is coming very, very fast, so that we have to focus on it. I also want to mention that if you see that, for example, we only have 1% or 3%, we have really to take care, because it doesn't mean that it's not serious. We have a lot of injury. This department can also be low in terms of statistics, but very high, really risk for the people. So that's why behind this percentage, we work on each case. This is I want to mean. The OCLDI want to show a trend, but they really take care about all the case, which is really important. You can see in that figures that we mention it, 75% of the crime or of the cases is reporting theft on the road, definitely. We also 1% theft of vehicle. You got theft from facility, and we fortunately know that we decrease a lot of let's say, theft in facility because we increase the security measures at the beginning. We really work since, let's say, 10 years because we were the first target, you know, about the bank. The bank finished. Now they secured the area, the armored trucks secured their trucks. And then, of course, we were the best target because who is more than us transport every day sensitive shipments, value, and what is difference between sensitive shipment and high value? It's a very tricky subject. So that's why we now certainly less suffer about burglary in our premises. Then we have really focus on how we can secure. Thanks to TAPA FSR, we know also how to go for a small company is very good to know which is the level, what we have to expecting to have a security premises. So we did a lot of work with all the person and then thanks to all the documentation, and we exchange about that. But all, of course, let's say the impact coming from that, because now it's easier to steal a truck, and that's the main point. We will see in the other slide. We will have now to work really on. We will have to focus on that point. That's really important. So you got the figures to the other years for your information, and let's say which something is really important. You can see that we have 19% not specified case, which means we put the finger in a problem. We got complaint. We got information from the company about theft, but it's not possible to make really a category to categorize them because of the missing information, and we will speak about later on. So I think about the findings. Let's say, as I mentioned you, Rhône-Alpes, some department, some area in France is on the spot. So why Lyon, and what we speak about Paris already, but Lyon is really one spot we have to focus now. We have so many sensitive shipments today sent to Lyon area, and we notified, we suffered in the supply chain about crime, armed, professional person, and really determined commando type gangs. So that's something really, first point, they work, OCLDI work on that point. Police are really focused on that area, but not only police, because of course it concerns all the supply chain. We also mentioned something really coming now sooner and sooner is the diversion of freight on the road. So that's a really important point, and I think everybody know that. Some of people, you know, I don't know why, but they can again have a diversion of shipments because the driver or the company has another address to deliver it. And at the end, we can say that e-commerce so easy to do. They deliver to a wrong place and then the shipments disappeared. So that's something we also saw in 2001 and now in the beginning of 2022. And then we also have another point, which is the false documentation. So it appears that some of the shipment disappeared because someone, which is a false driver, came with a false documentation and came and say, okay, I will give you my note. So sometimes it's not an official document, but they can collect the shipment easier because they give an information and the people give to the driver. And after that, you realized that it was not a good driver. So that's something, again, we can certainly make the difference if we pay an attention, but we know that's fact. So that's important to take care about that. We mentioned that the majority of the case, which is general cargo theft, take place during the road transportation. And I highlight the fact we speak about general cargo because it's not only the sensitive shipments who certainly has suffered about this theft, it's opportunity. We have some gangs, they used to steal a truck, and whatever they find in the truck, they can give for 5 or 50,000 euro, and sometimes it's win-win or not win-win, but at the end it's opportunity, only opportunity. I've got the truck, I know that inside the truck, if it's not really high value sensitive shipments, every shipment can be finally interesting someone. So that's a point, we could see that. And I would like also to mention that since 7 years, we really work on transportation, security transportation, but really the focus certainly was on the full container loaded or full truck loaded of shipments, which means it's easier when you have a full truck to deliver for one customer, and the customer wants, because it's really sensitive to secure the shipments, it's easier to deal with that. You have a secure truck, you send a secure truck. So if you pay attention, if you put the security measures you have to put, then it's easier. And at the end, the rest is not easy when you will speak about milk run and a lot of shipments, different shipments in a truck. So that's the point. And the theft during the driver breaks, that's a really a point, because today we know that we must secure everything. We know that everybody knows security measures. Everybody knows, fortunately, I think the basic common security measures. But sometimes we have what we think to do, what we want to do, and we have the reality, and it doesn't really match. So that's why I will have another comment for you after that, because sometimes we have to take care about the fact that we want that and we cannot do that. So that's really important to say that one of the points is the driver must take some breaks. The driver must stop during the night. The driver sometimes, they don't have the security measures, the security process, and that's the point. Because if you don't have all this thing in mind, then the shipments will be a target finally. So that's a trouble, and that's the majority of the case of the crime in France. And of course, which is the same, because if you have to stop the vehicle, you have to secure the vehicle. That's the point. In France, we only have 2 secured parking officially. So that's a mess. And when you say that one of the 2 recognize I secure parked, is not at all. So it's a deal. So we are really limited secure parking in France, even in public zone, but in private zone also. Because today, you speak about someone and you say, okay, you're a transport company. Can you secure the shipment? Can you secure the truck if I send on Thursday and you deliver it on Friday? And they will tell you, yes, I've got a secured parking. Yeah. When you make the audit, you realize that for him, a secure parking, it's because it's near the gendarmerie, for example. So you can imagine that what you feel, what you know in terms of security, nobody knows the same, or perhaps they have to be informed about what is a secured parking. So that's really a big issue for us in France, to be sure that the container, the truck will be safe. And we will speak about the statistic. I just show you trends and not statistic, because we know that not everyone is lodged complaint. And I remember one thing, when we said in TAPA conference, or when we say, please give us the information on the missing shipment, it's not say to blame anybody, because everybody can have a theft. It's not say to know who make the mistake. It's really to say that at the end, we need to work in the same way, because the organized crime work together. So that we need to really focus on what happened to know how to react. So please, and it's really for France the message, but I think you can say for everybody, give information to know what happened really. Give. We have also, the complaint. Okay, so some of us didn't lodge complaint, but some do. But who is complaint? Who is lodge complaint? Is the driver. If we speak about the fact that I speak about the theft in the road, it is the driver lodge complaint. But when the driver lodge complaint, he say to the police guy, "Hey guys, I want to lodge a complaint because my truck has been stolen." And that's all. That means if nobody revert with the exact shipments, the exact loss, the exact value, all the information, in fact, can be really helpful and make the difference. Because if not, then the statistic will not show theft of shipment in a truck. It will just report theft of the truck. So that's important to have a good category and then to say what happened exactly. And again, we have to work together between the sender the customer has really to be involved, because he know exactly what's the loss, and we don't have to be to say, oh, okay, we wait before say to the customer. Be transparent, because everything is to work together about that. So that's a message from the police. Please say the truth, and give us all the information on time. So that's really important. I love to say, very fun, well, very, I don't want to blame anybody, but I think we also have to react, and we notify the lack of cooperation sometimes, or a collaboration, or let's say a transparent discussion between the customer and also the logistics service provider. We need really to collaborate together to be able to validate a transport in a good way. If not, if at the beginning we are not able to analyze, to recommend, to give our, we can say to the customer, no, it's not possible, because if it's not possible, it's also to prevent all the interest customer, all the supply chain must be also involved. Some of theft could have been avoided with basic and minimum security prevention, for sure. We see that every day. That if we do something, if I did that, or if I make attention of that, then perhaps we can avoid this theft. So that's really, really important to think about that. Don't forget that in France also we are the transit country for valuable shipments. And the point for this topic is sometimes we forget to make a risk assessment and to involve the French part. We know more than everybody where is the risk, why we have a risk, and we can work with the police to help and to program something and to take the maximum of the security measures. Security has a cost. That's a point. I don't know, but I like to say the reality. If a customer asks us a TAPA level, TSR1, FSRA, whatever, okay, but everything has a cost. And at the end, if we don't, as a service provider, say to the customer, this is what you want, this is perhaps enough or not, if you don't say at the beginning, of course the customer will not understand why. After that, you say, yeah, no, I got a theft, but you don't put any security measures, and you don't want you didn't give me information on security measure you want. But we need really to focus on that point. We need to make a risk analysis, and we spoke about resilience this morning, but I think it's really that we need to know the supply chain to know where is a risk. We need to know everybody to realize what kind of measure we have to put, and then the real cost will be paid and have to be paid. Because if you don't do that, ask to the driver, to the trucking company to put a lot of measures, and then they will tell, okay, but it's not the good price, and then you will be, in a bad position. So that's really important to be at the beginning involved as a security manager. That's really important. Only a few trucks, if we speak about TSR, trucking security requirements, that's really important because it's something we can say as a solution for our problem of trucking theft. But the problem is that today we don't have so much trucking company who has, who want to equip their vehicle. So as I say you before, if it's a full truck of shipments, if you've got a contract, if you can give to a trucking company a minimum acceptable of transport, they will play the game. And don't forget also that it's also important to say to the trucking company, okay, I spoke about security, but you have to take care about the safety of your driver. So that's really, really important to be the voice of the security, to be sure that everybody understands the needs and the mandatory. So that's really important. So today we still making communication to really involve trucking company on our board. That's really important. We have also another one point which is not referring to the trend, but is really important. We have what we want, because we are a customer, we want to deliver rapidly, we need to, to follow the forecast and so on, and we are the reality. Port congestion. No entry in a terminal because problem of strike. We have no more truck because about Geisel problem. Let's say, be honest, find solution, acceptable solution for everybody. Doesn't mean you will pass to 0% of risk, but then if everybody is really in a capacity to say I take the risk, then it will be good because it's win-win for everybody. So we have to be honest and transparent about the supply chain. We speak about the increasing incident of cargo theft in air freight and airport area. The same. We make now, secure the truck, we go to the airport, and finally the airport sent to destination in Asia, for example, and then we have a problem, a theft, pilferage. And then you realize that everyone is focused on air flight or whatever, airport, but you don't have any feedback from them because everybody say, okay, it's not me, the shipment arrived, it's not in France, so nobody lodged complaint. And at the end, sometimes we have perhaps to imagine that perhaps it can appear also in France. So that's something we want really to highlight in our working group, that we need to work in our country. And then when we are focusing on our country, if people do the same, we will solve the problem. So the limit of the opportunities, improve risk analysis. Exactly, we need to make risk analysis for everything. That's really important. When we speak about the basic security measures, then sometimes we speak about really high crime and so on, and it's resilience and IT. Now we know we can have some trouble with a very important gang. But we sometimes forget the common basic sense. And the first thing is to say, what I want, what I am expecting, it is possible or not. If it's not possible, then we have to find mitigation solutions. That's really important. Do not forget that the basic fundamentals or the basic things is really important to still have a look. Don't forget that thing is important. Deploy the security manager in an adversary role to limit the risk. How many times people forget to involve security manager or security part in their, let's say, meeting, let's say, recommendation, operational. So at the end, if you're not involving security, it's too late. So we have really to say that it's a key role. Security, it's a manager has a key role in the supply chain. It's really important, do not forget that. I just spoke about the OCLDI. I want to make a small focus on the fact that we have two specialists, national law enforcement, until working. They work, in fact, it's units working on cargo crime, organized cargo crime. We have the OCLDI, but also we have we call the OCLO, which is a central office against organized crime also. It's really important because they're monitoring the evolution of the cargo theft in France. But they are really work on with us. I mean the security head of the transport company, and we have a working group and a contract with them to be able to react with them, to be able to be in the confidence. So that's really a good point, and I'm really glad to work with that kind of organization, because if we now we're speaking about increasing number of cases. To be honest, they really did a good job to reduce the gangs attack. I would like to just remind that when we lodge a complaint to the police, of course, we sometimes don't want to lodge a complaint also because we say we don't know if the theft occurred in our country. But we need to register every incident, and then perhaps to go to the police and say, okay, this is something, I could remark, I could realize. I got 10 facts. The third one, I was not sure it was in France, so I didn't lodge a complaint. But after the fourth one, I realized it could be some similar activities. And then you can lodge a complaint for all the case, and you don't forget everyone. But if you don't register yourself in TIS or in your own, let's say, program, all these incidents, how you want to be in a good way, it's not possible. So all the parties really must provide the necessary information to the law enforcement, perhaps on the call. Okay, I've got a case, I'm not sure. And the guy will tell, okay, don't lodge a complaint today, but after that we will see. It's a common work. So that's really important. Do not keep for you that kind of information. And again, I know, because it's a daily work, you can see people say, no, it's not in France. Did you take any reserve? Did you take any remark? Did you send a complaint to have money back? Guys, I don't want money back. I just want, we make security measures to avoid any incidents in the future. And that's the main point. How to react to stop that kind of behavior, to stop the organized crime. That's really important. At the end, we need to conduct good business analysis, I told, but not only us, when we are trucking company, when we are provider, service of logistics. That means shipper, buyers, everyone must be part of this work. Recommendation is important. And we need sometimes also to add the legal department to the insurance department, because it's really important to realize what kind of risk we have. And also important is to continue to inform all the parties in France about the benefits of TAPA EMEA. If I'm John, as she mentioned, I'm here today, I'm on a voluntary manner. It's because I believe that TAPA can make the difference. Not because we are not able to make our own strategy, our own process. We have. I don't speak about my company. We have some chance. We have a big company. But I speak about the small company who make the difference in the transport, in a supply chain. We cannot have a delivery without a delivery company. But if the delivery company don't have enough let's say not money, but enough possibility to react, to know, to be trained, we have to help them to more understand the security. What is security parking? Let's say I come back to the previous slide. It's not only because you are near, and parking is from the gendarmerie. You need to have a fence. You need to know who got the access to the fence. You need to have the CCTV. So more people we can speak. More people we can let's say, involved in our job, more positive result we will have. So we have to continue to inform what is about TAPA, what is about the level of FSR or TSR. And we need really to say that most of the points are common sense. And the rest, we need to be sure who can, who cannot, what is the cost, and at least they need to understand all of the measures we request. So, as I told you, we work with the OCLDI police and the OCLO police. And when I say we, it's I have the chance also to be part to a TLF Federation. It's a French Federation of Transport, which is really focused on the road criminality. And that's a very good point, because we are on the most important subject. So how we can work closely with them around the table once a month to react on time. And really, we are the person who say to everybody, okay, this is perhaps the solution. Are you okay? So I am security manager, but I am also a commercial or salespeople, because we need to believe on security. If not, if we don't believe on your work, it doesn't work. We also perhaps have to work again with insurance part, because sometimes we realize that we can transport a large value of shipments. And then when you are a big logistic provider, you can be covered. But at the end, the trucking company who has the same value is not covered by the insurance. So at the end, if you got a problem, imagine, don't speak about ad valorem assurance. I just speak about, the limit of responsibility. But sometimes the limit is not enough, because you made a mistake, and then you have really to do something, because you have to pay the cost of the shipment. So let's say, as I mentioned, you take care about the daily operations challenges. Today, what is real, what is good for your customer will not be good tomorrow. If we speak about the problem we have, fuel shortage, safety rules, the driver must stop if he has to stop. You have to find solution, COVID, port congestion, etc. So the best assessment will be the one you have to do in each different case. It's not only one at the beginning of the traffic, it's all the time. When you know you got another risk, you make another assessment. And we have really to come back to the common sense, make more training. Awareness people is really the main point. And also, police say that we also need really to close and to work with them when we start with the shipments, when we start with the traffic, when we start with a new traffic. We can contact the police and say, we will have this kind of traffic to this area, till this area. What do you think about that? What is your feeling? And sometimes they told, okay, we will do prevention with you. We will tell you that forget that road. And that's a very good point. So to reduce cargo crime, be honest, discuss honestly with all the parties to find the best solution. Customers, people are not always aware about the reality of the risk in the cargo. They don't know really perhaps all the supply chain. So be transparent. And really we are working on TLF with airline and with ports to prevent crime. And I think I will be able next time to give you good news, because I'm sure that if we spoke honestly face to face with person, nobody will tell you, no, I'm not involved, I don't mind. No, just take time to speak. You have to really be sure have the good contact. So at the end, we got the problem of the lack of secure truck parking, and we will focus on it. Just to say that sometimes when we speak about framework for robberies in France, we got four persons, but it's a high level of injuries. So that's a point. We also have trucks escorted And the police remind again that the risky zone or area is when you are just before to arrive to the motorway. So take care about the fact that when you are in the motorway, nothing will happen, but make sure that the truck, when he leave your premises for the first miles or for last miles, will be secured. And at the end, don't forget we are in a peak period, so we are not in a position to say, okay, we did the best. No, we have to do the best again. So let's say recommendation for the driver will be very, very important. And I'm proud to say that if you are perhaps interesting, we have manuals, we have leaflets from the police. We can also send to you, to everybody, to make the awareness for the driver, but also for the company. And just for me, that's common sense, but I come back to that. Avoid collection on Friday when we speak about high value. If we collect the shipment on Friday and then we don't have any parking, secure parking, you can imagine, then we just have to pray that nothing appeared. And then at the end, the same, we have the later collection. The customer said, okay, I can understand that it's really important for them because they have to send the shipment. But when we collect the shipment on Friday at 4 or on Thursday at 4, no entry possible in the port or in the airport. So just think about that. Also some just pinpoint the fact that sometimes, but that I will not pass a long time to discuss about that. Take care about the fact that we need to proper placement the seal in the container. Most of the time, we know that during the transport, the seal can be put out very easily. And at the end, just to finish, because I think I'm not the only person who has to work today, not a chance for you, but I think I just want to show you something. This is what we have did with a very famous company in France who work with the police, and this is we call the maquette. So I'm sorry because I don't know the word in English, but I think this is really the way they work, and all these measures put in place and make the difference, because today all of these trucks equipped like that, to be sure we make the difference, and fortunately we can be sure that the person can attack the vehicle but will not have any time to put off the shipments in the truck. So thank you very much. I think I speak a lot.
Céline, thank you so much for that very informative update. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do want to ask you a couple of quick questions, but just before I do, just a reminder to everybody watching that if you do have a question for Céline or for any of our speakers or for TAPA EMEA, then you can pop those in the chat and the speaker or TAPA EMEA will get back to you directly with a response. So Céline, maybe you could just tell me, what are the main difficulties that companies are facing in trying to improve road security in France?
Well, then I think I already spoke about that before, but I would like to perhaps highlight the fact that the reality make the difference. Sometimes, you have an investigation and you realize the guy say, okay, but I put the key, under my truck. So, well, you can imagine you have such security recommendation like that, which is completely, and then he told, I put my key. And when you realize why he put his key in the truck, it's because he cannot do anything else due to the organization of the transport. And the only thing who can make the difference will be that security people speak about the customer, about perhaps the risk assessment, and perhaps just that will make the difference. So it's an example as another, but the tricky point will be also, security with the safety. When you transport perfumes, you have to put a sticker in the container, ID 8000. So, oh God, I will take my perfume for Christmas, but that's a reality. So we have also for that, speak about authorities to say, hey guys, perhaps we can find another solution and do not put this kind of, information on the truck. Customers I know that, they put also their own seals. And when I see the seals, I say, oh my God, I would like to have that. So just something, sometimes it's just to do not be shame. If you can see something, customers are human people, I think too. So we can discuss. And if they are not agree, then it's their responsibility. I do the same with my CEO. When I say you have to pay a lot of CCTV, it's really high value of CCTV. And he told me, no, it's up to him to take the responsibility. So this is the tricky point, discussion.
Thinking about those in that discussion. And what's helping at the moment then to reduce the truck robberies in France?
So really that kind of situation. So we really work, and I'm really proud because this really appeared because we make a really good work with all the security companies and say, okay guys, we need to have something like that. We need to be ahead before this dishonest people. We will never stop. We know that. And tomorrow I will be also a victim. But if we put that, we win time. And as I mentioned you, when they arrived, when they try to open it, the time is making the difference for a robber.
And when we talk about the supply chain risks in France, what do you think is it going to take to continue to reduce supply chain risks?
Basic again, awareness. To explain to the people, to involve everybody, and do not think that you have to work on your own. If I got good work, but I didn't take care about the customer and trucking company and airline, then I will have a problem at the end. So we need to continue really to as we do to explain, to convince, to like a flower, when you put something in the garden, and then you wait, and the person after that you got a good flower and beautiful flower. And I hope then really when we work with the operation, I find I know the target I want to go, and doesn't matter if I do that. I involve the person who will do the work before, and I find solution with him. So that's not easy sometimes. It's not black, it's not white, but I think we need to continue as we do together, and to make it's not. I didn't lose my time here today, really.
I just wanted to ask you something about the unreliable statistics that you mentioned, because you said that some people aren't all lodging complaints. Yeah. What is the barrier, do you think, to people lodging complaints? Why aren't they? Is it cultural, or?
I don't know for the other country, to be honest, but I think, again, some people, some of them tell, okay, I will not pay the value, so don't worry. But I think most of them don't. There was, they're afraid about the fact that someone can say, oh, I got a problem here. At the end, I'm the first one I say, I have problem, but I fix it, and I'm working to fix it. And when you are honest with the customer and say, I will have problem, mister. I will have for sure who I am. But I can assure you that I will report you the truth. I will tell you everything I have to do, and I will recommend you as a security professional. That makes a difference.
And you mentioned secure parking facilities in France.
Yeah.
Did I hear correctly that there are only 2?
Yeah, but I think for the parking in France, we have to work also. I think we need to work together, because I heard about the fact that we will have regulation about parking, and I think it will be an issue if nobody, if it's not a mandatory, or if we don't have really action on it. So it's a tricky subject. I think we work already with Marcus, and I think we can have private security area also, but it will not enough. So I think we really have to move authorities for that.
And just finally then, what can TAPA EMEA members be doing to support you better?
I think now you have to come to France. Yeah, I be TAPA voice, but I think now, the police force, every members, every parties need to see you and to see the work you do. Definitely.
Céline, it's really been great having you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
I hope to have to be cleared, and I'm staying at disposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Céline.
Bye-bye.